Alright, let's dive into something that's been making waves recently, and trust me, it's a story that's as complex as it is important. So, here's the deal. An Israeli settler has been charged with reckless manslaughter over the killing of a Palestinian activist in the West Bank. But this isn't just any activist. Odeh Hathaleen was a key figure in the Oscar-winning documentary No Other Land. And the guy charged? Yinon Levy, a settler with a history of controversy. Personally, I think this case is a microcosm of the broader tensions in the region, but it also raises some really uncomfortable questions about accountability and justice. What makes this really interesting is the timing. This is the first time in nearly 3 years that an Israeli has been indicted for killing a Palestinian in the West Bank. Let that sink in. 3 years. And it's not like violence hasn't been happening, far from it. Since the Hamas-led attack on October 7, 2023, and the subsequent Gaza war, settler violence in the West Bank has surged. According to the UN, over 1,100 Palestinians have been killed by Israeli soldiers and settlers in that time. So, why now? Why this case? In my opinion, this indictment feels like a symbolic gesture more than a systemic shift. Israeli rights group B'Tselem called it the exception that proves the rule, and I couldn't agree more. The impunity granted to settlers and soldiers who harm Palestinians isn't a bug in the system, it's a feature. It's designed to maintain control and allow violence to escalate. So, while it's good that something is happening, it's hard not to feel skeptical about whether this is a genuine turning point or just a PR move. Now, let's talk about Yinon Levy. This guy is no stranger to controversy. He's been sanctioned by both the UK and the US for his role in displacing Palestinian communities. The UK government accused him of using physical aggression, threatening families at gunpoint, and destroying property. And yet, here he is, claiming self-defense and accusing prosecutors of supporting terrorism. From my perspective, this is a classic example of how narratives get twisted in conflicts like this. Levy's actions have been documented, and yet he's framing himself as the victim. It's a tactic we see all too often, and it's frustrating because it distracts from the real issue: the systemic violence against Palestinians. One thing that immediately stands out is the reaction from Hathaleen's family and activists. They're cautiously optimistic, hoping this could be a turning point. But they also feel the charges should be more severe: murder, not manslaughter. And honestly, I get it. When you look at the details of the incident, Levy allegedly fired his gun during a confrontation with villagers, hitting Hathaleen. That doesn't sound like self-defense to me. It sounds like reckless aggression. But here's the thing: even if Levy is convicted, will it change anything? Or will it just be a one-off case that doesn't address the root causes of the violence? What many people don't realize is how deeply personal this story is. Odeh Hathaleen wasn't just an activist, he was a teacher, a father of 3, and a prominent voice against settler violence. His work in No Other Land highlighted the legal battles Palestinians face over their land, like the fight to save Massafah Yada, a community of 20 villages threatened with demolition. His death isn't just a statistic, it's a loss for his family, his community, and the broader struggle for justice. If you take a step back and think about it, this case is a snapshot of a much larger conflict. It's about land, identity, and power. It's about who gets to tell the story and who gets to decide what's right or wrong. And it's about whether justice is even possible in a system that's fundamentally unbalanced. Personally, I think this case is a wake-up call, not just for Israel, but for the international community. We can't keep ignoring the systemic issues here. This raises a deeper question: what does it take for real change to happen? Is it enough to prosecute one settler, or do we need a complete overhaul of the policies that enable this violence? I don't have all the answers, but I do know this: stories like Hathaleen's deserve to be heard, and cases like Levy's need to be scrutinized. Because at the end of the day, it's not just about one man or one incident, it's about the lives and futures of millions of people caught in this cycle of violence. So, here's my closing thought: let's not just watch this case unfold. Let's use it as a moment to reflect on the bigger picture. What does justice look like in a place like the West Bank? And what can we, as global citizens, do to push for real accountability? It's a heavy question, but it's one we can't afford to ignore. Thanks for watching, and let me know your thoughts in the comments below.